everyone, my name is ZeBirdBrain and today we are talking about cleanup. So as some of you might know, I'm currently working alongside Ashley and Nicole in co-leading the cleanup process of Lackadaisy's short film, and I've been doing lots of cleanup lately on livestream and received a bunch of very interesting questions. So that's why I started to do this little series showing you how I clean on that short film. So last week we talked about how to close gaps with a pencil, and today we're going to learn how to edit the line thickness of your pencil strokes. So like the title implies, this trick only works with the pencil tool. So for today's video, you'll need a cleanup drawing if you want to follow along. And this week, I will borrow Lackadaisy's assets and characters again. Lackadaisy is an amazing comic created by Tracy G. Butler, currently being adapted as a 2D short film. So I get told all the time about how the pencil cleanup is too mechanical, it's fake, and brush cleanup is so much better, it's pure, and well, I tend to disagree. Both are good techniques. So there's many ways to make your pencil cleanup less boring. Sure, you can give it a texture, but you can also just edit the thickness of your line. One tool that very few people actually know about is the auto-adjust thickness. I think it's because there's auto in the word, and people are like, this is not pure, this is automatic, the computer is doing the work for me. Do not let the computer do stuff, it's bad, I'm a purist. Right. So this tool is actually pretty rad because it basically mimics what we would do on paper. On paper, if I want my line to be thicker, chances are that I will go over it a couple more times. But this is exactly what Harmony does. So if you look at these ears here, on the key drawings, the ears are pretty thick. But in the in-betweens, I don't know, I made a mistake and the ears are very thin. So, by using the auto-adjust thickness tool, I can draw over my line and make it thicker. To do that, I just have to head over to my pencil properties, find my auto-adjust thickness tool, that thing over here, and just click on it. And then as I go to my drawing, and I draw over my model, but it'll start to be thicker as I keep drawing on top of it. And you can adjust the size of your magic paintbrush with the O shortcut, just like you would with everything else. And I can just start to edit the thickness of my line by going over it. Same thing here. And you can just start to really get your thickness. The color is usually yellow. I set it to blue because it's way more cool. If you fancy another color, just double click on the square and find another color. This is great for quick fix on the fly, but if you need more power, there's a whole tool to just adjust the thickness of your pencil strokes, and it's called the pencil editor. So if I look at my whisker line here and I click on it, you see little vector points. And to edit those, it's basically like the contour editor, so I won't spend too much time on it. You can just look at the contour editor video to have all the details. But as usual, if you press on Control or Command, you can add points. You can remove them by selecting them and deleting them. And these points have handles. If you press on Alt, you can edit them separately. Pretty fun. The only thing that is different from the contour editor is that if you circle here and you press on Shift, you can edit both points at the same time and both handles at the same time as well, which can be very interesting. This is more finicky and more made for rig, but sometimes in hand-drawn it's also useful. To select the points, you can make a big selection and hope you get the right dots, just like that. But you might select dots of another line by mistake, so instead of choosing just my whiskers, now I have a line of the leg or something. So instead, you can select the lines first by click and dragging them. And then if you do a big selection, you can only select the dots of these lines. So that's a fun way to work. And when you have dots selected, you can use the pump or deflate pencil pressure options, which are these little buttons here. So this one is the pump, so it's going to make your lines thicker. And this one is the deflate, so it's going to make your line thinner. You can also just use the up and down arrows of your keyboard. If you just press the key, it goes by small increments, but if you press Shift and the arrow keys, it's going to go very big. The cool thing with the pencil editor is that if you have a special thickness to a line, you can take this and you can hit Ctrl-C and you can paste it to other lines, which is pretty fun. And with the pencil editor, you can also click on the line and pull on the sides like that to adjust the thickness. So it's very flexible of a tool, it's pretty great. Or you can just add a new point and maybe make this point thicker. So there's a lot of control you can have with it. Usually for hand-drawn, we tend to use it a bit less because we spend less time on our drawing because they're pretty forgettable. But on a rig, it's pretty useful. So in hand-drawn, we tend to use also, like I said, the auto-adjust thickness to adjust the thickness. And while we're at it, the auto-adjust thickness has a neighbor called the line pushing mode, and that's pretty cool too. I mean, you can push some lines like that to push them away a little bit. I don't know. Like I said, it's not something that I use all the time, but if it can be useful to you, then that's amazing. Alright, so I hope you had fun, and I'll see you again next week for more tutorials.